Our low budget Warlock Aggro deck costs around 1560 Arcane Dust to make, not counting the common cards, but it will help you start climbing the rankings, particularly between rankings 20 and 15. Look, with a good draw, this can present such pressure to your opponent in the early game that they will not be able to establish control. But should you have a bad draw, you can always gain some of the advantage back by sacrificing your health for card advantage with your hero power. However, keep in mind that using your hero power may give your opponent that slight edge needed to beat you, so be cautious if you are behind. If your opponent starts to control the board, you can reset with Power Overwhelming and Shadowflame. Try to avoid going to the late game, as this will give a significant advantage to your opponent, and most of your play is in the early game. Alright, very interesting starting hand here. I'm going to make those Blood Imps work really hard for me. Really distress my opponent with how good they are. So, seeing as we've got the coin, we can lead out with 2 Blood Imps. And just watch our opponent get really frustrated. You've got to be careful against Shamans. Their totems can cause lots of havoc. So my strategy against Shamans is usually just to keep their totems dead, basically. Don't let any of them stay on the board. If you've watched some of my other videos, you'll notice that I always focus on board control. The only slight exception to that is when I'm playing a mage. I tend to throw all my spells at the opponent's head. Let's see what these imps can do. That's quite acceptable. We've bagged a Leper Gnome and we've done some damage to him. If he has to use 2 resources to get rid of one of mine, so be it. I think I'll hold off on the Knife Juggler, seeing as he's got the axe equipped. Gotta love that boosted Leper Gnome. Okay, so he's defending, so I'm just going to clean up a couple of his totems here. If you give the totems too much of a foothold, they do get a bit out of control. And let's drop a demon. And watch those Blood Imps go to work again. Buffing each other. Oh well, that's okay.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
That's not so bad. At least I got to do 3 damage to him.
So many possibilities.
It's a toss-up between these two. Defender or Knife Juggler? I think I'll go Defender.
My shield for Argon.
I'm going to gamble here. I think the Blood Imps can buff the Leper Gnome, hopefully. We'll see. There's a good chance. And that's good enough.
I wonder. I've got a hit.
So you can see how hard these Blood Imps work.
Into the breach.
So staying consistent or getting rid of his creatures. You've got plenty of time to kill him. I really want my opponent to try and run out of resources. Some of you may suggest that I'm just slow rolling him, and maybe I am. But I like to play it safe against Shamans. So let's get in for some damage here. Thank you, Blood Imps. So he hasn't left me with many choices. I have to get rid of that Flame Elemental. We'll drop the Harvest Golem first. Buff them with the Defender, which means I can probably swing with this, clean him up, and I still retain enough control. Harvest Golem survives.
What to do?
Alright, so let's read this play. He's played 2 Flame Elementals, he's given both of them Taunt. That tells me that he's getting a little bit desperate. We can see that he's running out of resources. So I'm going to focus on getting rid of that Flame Elemental. I'm not going to let him get control. So I can drop this Demon and then follow up with Soulfire. Okay, it's a little bit of a challenge. I really do have to deal with that creature with Divine Shield there. Life is just a buffer. So I've just got to work out the best combination here. That was good because I've weakened his creatures and I haven't lost any resources. Always love to see the Earthen Ring Farseer. We'll take out that Leper Gnome. And I'm probably going to have to lose a creature to get rid of his Divine Shield.
Sure, send the little guy.
Into the breach!
There we go. Let's see what the Blood Imps do. Excellent. So my opponent has 4 total resources, 2 in hand, 2 on the board, compared to my 5. So I'm still 1 resource up. I reckon I can probably pull it off from here.
Of course.
You can see how we've switched modes now. We're not attacking his creatures, we're just throwing all the damage at his head. Part of playing this game successfully is knowing when to switch modes. Now he has to do some pretty remarkable damage here to even survive. He's pretty lucky. So all I've got to do is get rid of his taunt creature and he's dead. given that I can draw at least 2 cards. Oh, I don't need to. A lot of different ways I could do this, but I'm just going to buff my own taunt creature. Get rid of his defender there. And clean him up. So I hope you enjoyed that walkthrough. Stay tuned for further videos in the near future.